Welcome to TV Sapienza News. My name is Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. On the news, Anambra state government has denied claims of building a second airport at Ndikelion, Urumba North local government area of the state. In a statement released on Friday, the State Commissioner for Information, Law Mefo, said the government wishes to categorically state that the report is false and as best speculative. Mefo said the speculators may be following the recent visit to the Anambra mixed-use industrial city, with some possibly assuming that the industrial park would require its own airport. But he said that the recent site visit was specifically to commence technical investigations to determine the most suitable locations for these transport systems within the industrial park and the new city design, should the need arise in the future. The commissioner, however, advised members of the public to disregard the false report and continue to rely on official announcements on any significant projects or developments in the state. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has intercepted counterfeit malaria drugs worth over 1.2 billion naira in Lagos State, strengthening its crackdown on substandard medicines across the country. In a statement posted on its official X handle on Friday, the agency said it seized about 277 cartons of counterfeit and unregistered Malamal false malaria drugs in a warehouse in the Lassa Oshodi area of the state. NAFDAC said the fake medicines, which was disguised in cartons labeled as diclofenac potassium 50 mg, were illegally imported from Shangzi Pharmaceuticals Group in China and falsely declared as spare parts. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Modishola Adeyeye, therefore reaffirms the agency's resolve to rid the country of fake and substandard medicines. Professor Adeyeye explained that the seizure formed part of a nationwide enforcement campaign to ensure only safe and quality medicines are available to Nigerians. She had also on Wednesday disclosed that the agency's recent raids on illicit drugs market in Lagos, Onitsha and Aba generated about 2.5 billion naira, saying the funds came from fines imposed on traders found guilty of selling counterfeit or substandard drugs. NAFDAC Director General explained that 996 million naira was spent on enforcement operations, 159 million naira was borrowed from a donor grant, and 1.18 billion naira was used for regulatory expenses, leaving NAFDAC with 207 million naira. The Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers NUPENG and the management of Dangote Refinery have again agreed to abide by the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding MOU they signed on Tuesday. The latest settlement followed a meeting that was held on Friday at the headquarters of the Department of State Services, DSS, in Abuja. According to the Memorandum of Understanding signed at the meeting, both parties agreed that unionization is a right under extant labor laws, and employees of Dangote Refinery and petrochemicals who wish to unionize will be allowed to do so. The MOU further stated that the process of unionization would begin immediately and be completed within 2 weeks. NUPENG had on Tuesday suspended its strike following an agreement with the management of Dangote Refinery to recognize workers' right to unionize. Our Nigerians living in South Africa have raised alarm over a fresh wave of xenophobic threats by an anti-migrant group known as Operation Dudula. Leaders of Nigerian communities have called for urgent diplomatic intervention following reports of attacks and harassment allegedly spearheaded by the group, which has been accused of blocking foreigners from accessing public hospitals. The president of the Nigerian Citizens Association in South Africa, Frank Onyekwelu, described the attack as another wave of xenophobia targeted at foreign nationals. Onyekwelu said the Nigerian community had already reached out to political groups and immigration bodies to express concerns. The community leader narrated disturbing cases including women giving birth on bare floors outside hospitals without medical care and patients being discharged without treatment. He urged both governments to intervene diplomatically. Founded as grassroots campaign, Operation Dudula claims to be fighting illegal immigration, drug trafficking, and what it calls the unlawful takeover of jobs and services by undocumented foreigners. According to reports, members of the group have been blocking clinics, inspecting businesses, and confronting immigrants. Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has approved the transmission of a bill to the House of Assembly seeking to ban same-sex marriage and other practices considered immoral in the state. The governor's spokesperson, Sunusi Tofa, in a statement yesterday, said the approval was given during the 31st Executive Council meeting held at the Government House Annex in Kwakwansiya City. According to him, Yusuf said his government will not compromise on Islamic values, stressing that Kano must continue to uphold its cultural and religious heritage. The governor said the bill specifically prohibits same-sex marriage as well as practices locally known as Madugo and Liwadi, which the government considers forbidding. Governor Yusuf also expressed confidence that lawmakers will treat the bill with urgency, considering its importance to the moral and social well-being of the state. The Delta State government has announced a review of its dress code for public servants, citing the need to uphold decency and curb the growing trend of improper dressing in the state's public service. In a statement shared on its official X handle recently, the government explained that the step was taken to reinforce discipline and decorum among officers. According to the statement, senior public servants are expected to lead by example in projecting a culture of proper dressing, with sanctions to be applied under public service rule against any officer who appears in inappropriate or immodest attire. For male officers, the circular stipulates that all staff on grade level 13 and above must appear in complete suits, except for uniformed officers, while those on grade levels 1 to 12 are required to dress in suits or trousers with shirts and ties, while administrative officers must always be in suits. Traditional attire, including senator suits, kaftan, or native shirts with trousers and caps, will only be allowed on Fridays and special occasions. Female officers on grade level 13 and above are required to appear in trouser suits, skirt suits, or corporate gowns below the knee, with trousers permitted only as part of suits. Those on grade levels 1 to 12 may also wear gowns below the knee with sleeves or skirts with blouses, while traditional outfits such as buba and wrapper, African print gowns, and other cultural attire are allowed only on Fridays and special occasions, provided they include proper sleeves. The state government said the revised guidelines are intended to instill discipline, project a professional image, and preserve the integrity of the Delta State public service. The police in Anambra State have launched an investigation into the killing of 4 people by gunmen during a funeral at Ezi Village, Ogidi, in the Demili North local government area of the state. The gunmen reportedly stormed the ceremony on Thursday and opened fire on some of the guests, killing 4 and leaving at least 15 with varying degrees of injuries. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Chukwueze, on Friday confirmed that the incident, which he said was related to cultism. Ikenga said the officers from Ogidi Division, led by their divisional police officer, responded swiftly to a distress call and subsequently restored order at the scene. He noted that while the victims has been evacuated for medical treatment, further developments will be communicated in due course. The Commissioner of Police, Anambra State Command, CP Ikoye Orutugu, has strongly condemned the incident and assures the resident that the command remains resolute in its commitment to rid the state of cult-related violence and other criminal activities. The command urges members of the public to remain calm, security conscious, and to continue to provide useful information by reporting suspicious movement or persons to the nearest police formation. We'll go on a short break. The news will make a return after this break. Stay with us on TV Sapienza News Hour. Welcome back to the rest of the news. The Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC has said it is grappling with widespread non-compliance and sabotage of speed limiting devices among commercial vehicle operators across the country. Speaking, the FRSC spokesperson Olusegun Ogungbemide said the device was introduced to address persistent problem of speeding, which is said remained the leading cause of fatal road accidents. He explained that the data had consistently shown speed to be the highest contributory factor in road crashes, injuries and fatalities, prompting the call to look beyond public sensitization. According to him, the federal government approved the policy for the compulsory installation of speed limiters on April 1, 2016, and full enforcement began on October 1 of the same year, saying that the call had continued to encounter stiff opposition. Ogungbemide, however, accused some commercial vehicle operators of deliberately sabotaging the devices. On our foreign news today, the United Nations General Assembly has voted to back a resolution which seeks to breathe new life into the two-state solution between Israel and Palestine without the involvement of Hamas. The text was adopted on Friday by 142 votes in favor and 10 against, including Israel and key ally, the United States, and 12 abstentions. It clearly condemns Hamas and demands that it surrenders its weapons. Although Israel has criticized the UN bodies for nearly 2 years over their failure to condemn Hamas' attack on October 7, 2023, it called for collective action to end the war in Gaza to achieve a just, peaceful and lasting settlement of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict based on the effective implementation of the two-state solution. The declaration, which was already endorsed by the Arab League and co-signed in July by 17 UN member states, including several Arab countries, also seeks to fully exclude Hamas from leadership in Gaza. Reacting to this, the Palestinian Vice President Hussein al-Sheikh welcomed the decision, saying the resolution expresses international willingness to support their people's rights and constitutes an important step towards ending the occupation and achieving their independent state. Meanwhile, Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesman Oren Mamostin slammed the vote, saying in a post on X that Israel utterly rejects the declaration, calling it evidence that the General Assembly had become a political circus detached from reality. The United States has warned that foreigners who celebrate or make light of the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk may face visa revocation. This was as officials identified social media account holders in Germany, Brazil, the United Kingdom, and South Africa, and some parts of Latin America for scrutiny. The warnings followed the killing of Kirk, a 31-year-old author, podcaster, and co-founder of Turning Point USA, who was shot dead on Wednesday while speaking at Utah Valley University. In a statement on his X handle as U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau said he had directed consular officials to monitor online commentaries and take appropriate measures against individuals praising, rationalizing, or making light of the assassination. While Landau did not elaborate on the visa revocation process, he responded to some online posts by pledging to review cases flagged by members of the public. The U.S. authorities said they have arrested suspected killer of Kirk after an extensive manhunt. The suspect was identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Southern Utah. According to international media organizations, law enforcement sources say Robinson apparently confessed to his father before being turned in to authorities. On our sports news today, Fulham manager Marco Silva says the profiles of Chukwueze and Kevin will add to what the club have been looking for on the pitch. Chukwueze joined the Whites on a loan from AC Milan on deadline day. The wingers, however, increased the number of Nigerians at Craven Cottage to 3, with Kevin Bassey, Alex Iwobi already key members of the squad. Chukwueze joined up with his new teammates on Thursday after returning from international duty with Nigeria. The 26-year-old is now in line to make his debut for Fulham against Leeds United today. Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca has vowed never to include Raheem Sterling and Eze Disasi in his team again. Sterling and Disasi have been banished from first-team training by Maresca but failed to get new clubs in the summer. The Italian has now told reporters that the pair, who are Chelsea players, will continue to use a different pitch, gym and dressing room indefinitely. He noted that since the season started, he is yet to see either of them. To wrap it up on the news, here are the major news headlines for today. Nigerians living in South Africa has raised their alarm over a fresh wave of xenophobic threats by an anti-migrant group known as Operation Dudula. The United Nations General Assembly has voted to back a resolution between Israel and Palestine without the involvement of Hamas. And Fulham manager Silva says the profiles of Chukwueze and Kelvin will add to what the club have been looking for on the pitch. And that was the TV Sapienza News at 1. On behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. Thank you for being here with us on TV Sapienza.